Hi there, this is Marvin, and welcome to Buddy Up Gaming. Celeste is a precision platformer that teaches players the power of resilience. In this video, we'll go over what you can expect from your first playthrough, walking through each chapter, the new mechanics they introduce, and the spots where you might get tripped up. We'll also rate how much effort an average playthrough requires, so you know where to save your energy for the tough ones. Before we dive in, the most important thing to do when starting a new game is enabling assist mode, especially if you're playing with newcomers to the platforming genre who need more time to practice. Assist mode lets you turn on invincibility, preventing deaths from obstacles, and even grants extra dashes if you're struggling with timing. Using assist mode permanently can remove some of the joy of overcoming challenges, but it's a fantastic tool when players need help adapting to a new mechanic or obstacle. Chapter 1, Forsaken City, does a great job easing you into Madeline's basic moveset. The main obstacles are spikes that line the walls, ceilings, and floors, but the safe paths are usually clear and most screens don't take too many moves to complete. You'll also encounter zip movers, blocks that zip along a track whenever Madeline stands or holds onto them. These can be tricky for newcomers, especially when you need to use their momentum to propel Madeline farther across the screen. Overall, it's a fairly gentle introduction and a low-effort chapter to complete. Chapter 2, Old Side, introduces dream blocks, magical-looking blocks that warp Madeline from one side to the other whenever she dashes into them. They add a light puzzle element, since dashing into a wall or ceiling on exit kills Madeline, so planning your entry point is key. Once you get the hang of them though, they're incredibly satisfying to use. This chapter also adds sequences with Madeline, who mimics Madeline's moves and kills on contact. The platforming in this section itself isn't dramatically harder, but knowing something is chasing you adds pressure. Even simple jumps can feel a little more tense. You'll definitely rack up a few deaths here, but it's nothing a bit of practice can't handle. Overall, Chapter 2 is still a low-effort chapter. Chapter 3, Celestial Resort, is where most newcomers hit their first real wall. The difficulty spikes sharply with the introduction of dust bunnies, floating clusters that instantly kill Madeline on contact. Some are stationary, others follow set movement patterns. The goal here is to teach timing and rhythm, how to read cycles and move through them safely. The challenge is that these screens often have very few safe spots, forcing you to think and move quickly. Like the battle and chase sequences, there's little time to pause and plan. If this feels overwhelming, try enabling invincibility temporarily. It can help you practice the movements and muscle memory for each screen without worrying about deaths. Once you've got the route down, turn invincibility off and focus on timing. It's a high-effort chapter, but practice really pays off here. You'll start to feel that signature Celeste flow kick in. After the intensity of the resort, Chapter 4, Golden Ridge, feels like a breath of fresh air. It introduces 3 new movement tools: green bubbles that boost Madeline in any direction, clouds that launch her upward, and move blocks that she can guide while standing or clinging to them. Together, they make for fun, dynamic puzzles that open up a lot of creative movement. The main new hazard is wind, which changes how Madeline's jumps and dashes behave. The early sections are forgiving, letting you learn the rhythm of wind before adding tougher obstacles later on. If you're struggling, try enabling 2 dashes for extra control, especially when the wind direction keeps changing. Overall, Chapter 4 takes medium effort to overcome. Chapter 5, Mirror Temple, brings several new mechanics and a big shift in tone. You'll encounter red bubbles, which act like the green ones but keep moving until they hit something, and swap blocks, which move to their opposite position whenever you dash. They add a clever layer of timing to each puzzle. The temple is also dark, with sections illuminated by blue and yellow lights. Blue lights show where you've been, yellow lights guide you toward progress. Midway through, you'll meet Seekers, floating enemies that chase Madeline whenever she's nearby. They add tension, but the real challenge comes at the end, when you need to carry Theo through a series of obstacle-filled rooms. Holding Theo means you can't climb freely, so the trick is to leave him at the start of each screen, plan your route, and only pick him up once you're ready. Theo is safe from seekers, so don't worry about him. Overall, Mirror Temple is a medium effort chapter. Tougher than the earlier ones, but by now your skills should be catching up to the challenge. Chapter 6, Reflection, is another tough chapter that really starts to test your precision and timing. It also introduces 3 new devices that shake up how you move through the mountain. First are feathers, which allow Madeline to fly freely across the screen for a short period of time. It's the only form of movement that gives you full 360-degree control, instead of the usual 8 directions. The freedom feels incredible, but you'll have your hands full avoiding obstacles while you're in the air. Then there are bumpers, which bounce Madeline around like she's in a pinball machine. They're fun to use, but take a little practice figuring out the right angles to hit them. Finally, there are Kevin blocks, which shoot forward whenever Madeline dashes into them. Like the zip movers from Chapter 1, these blocks can give Madeline just enough momentum to clear wide gaps. Combined, all 3 devices make for some of the most intricate puzzles in the main story. Madeline also makes her return here, this time as a full-on boss fight that spans multiple screens. Your goal is to reach and strike Madeline, but along the way, she'll attack with laser beams and energy blasts that make every dash a risk. With each successful hit, Madeline retreats deeper into the level, leaving behind special platforms that both help and hinder your progress. It's an intense sequence, made even better by one of the best tracks in the Celeste soundtrack. Chapter 6 takes high effort to complete, but it's one of the most satisfying playthroughs in the entire game. A true test of everything you've learned so far. Chapter 7, The Summit, brings the main story to a close. It combines everything you've learned from the previous chapters and adds one powerful twist. After reconciling with Madeline gains the ability to dash twice instead of once. Conquering the summit means climbing through a remix of every chapter you've faced before. That might sound intimidating, but these remix sections are actually easier and smoother than the originals. They feel like a well-earned victory lap that celebrates your growth as a player. Of course, the climb doesn't stop there. After the remixes, you'll face a final gauntlet of 30 checkpoints, divided into 3 sections: downwind, upwind, and no wind. That's right, the wind mechanic from Chapter 4 makes a comeback, once again playing tricks on your movement and timing. With its tight gaps and tricky angles, this final stretch demands focus and patience. Overall, beating Chapter 7 takes medium effort, but the sense of accomplishment when you finally reach the summit is unforgettable. Once you've conquered Celeste Mountain, give yourself a pat on the back. That's no small feat. The epilogue adds a gentle finishing touch to the story, and it might just spark your next goal, collecting more strawberries to help Madeline bake the most delicious pie possible. Reaching the summit also unlocks Chapter 8, Core, which offers one of the biggest twists to Madeline's moveset and ramps up the challenge dramatically. To access it, you'll first need to collect 4 crystal hearts from the earlier chapters. The core reintroduces several familiar devices, like bumpers, but mixes them with new ones that change depending whether you're in hot mode or cold mode, as indicated by color switches throughout the level. In hot mode, Madeline can ride conveyor belts that launch her upward when she jumps at the right time, and core blocks that fling her across the screen if her jump is perfectly timed. In cold mode, those same conveyor belts become icy, unclimbable walls, and the core blocks sink and disappear after a few seconds. Meanwhile, fireballs and bumpers that were dangerous in hot mode turn into safe ice balls and regular bumpers. The biggest change though is how Madeline's dash resets. In this chapter, touching the ground no longer refreshes your dash. Instead, you only regain it by collecting dash crystals or switching screens. That means every dash has to count. You can't rely on dashing to recover from a mistake. This single change makes Core one of the hardest and most thoughtful challenges in the game. With its unique mechanics and steep learning curve, Core isn't for everyone, but it's a rewarding experience for players who enjoy pushing their limits. If core isn't your style, or you're craving a different kind of challenge, you can also try the B-sides. These are harder versions of the main chapters, unlocked by collecting cassette tapes hidden in each level. B-sides are shorter, but far more demanding, requiring tight precision and clean movement. And if you manage to beat all the B-sides, you'll unlock the C-sides, which are even shorter and tougher. Anyone playing through the C-sides has truly mastered Celeste's controls. You're no longer a newcomer at that point. But there's more to Celeste than mastering difficulty. Hunting for strawberries or conquering harder levels isn't the only way to keep enjoying the game. Celeste also has an incredible speedrunning community, full of players who've turned precision into an art form. Speedrun videos are always fun to watch for their sheer display of skill, but what makes Celeste speedruns so special is the love this community has for the game and for each other. There's a real sense of joy, encouragement, and shared pride that comes through in every run. Watching these players glide across the screen with such speed and control is mesmerizing. And it's a great watch with kids, even if you're not expert players yourselves. I've linked 3 of my favorite runs in the description below. They're an inspiring reminder that even the toughest challenges can be tackled with creativity, patience, and a community that cheers you on every step of the way. Celeste is more than just a tough platformer. It's a story about growth, patience, and learning to keep going, even when the mountain feels impossible to climb. Every chapter teaches you something new, not just about the game, but about yourself as a player. Whether you play with assist mode, take your time collecting strawberries, or push for that perfect clear, there's no wrong way to enjoy the climb. And when you finally reach the top, you'll realize that every fall, every retry, and every moment of frustration was part of what made the view so meaningful. If you enjoyed this guide, don't forget to like and subscribe for more family-friendly gaming guides here on Buddy Up Gaming, where we help parents and kids play, learn, and level up together. Take care out there.